Hi, my name is Kathy Henry, and I am a licensed clinical social worker in the Indianapolis area, and I am proud to work for Healing Hearts of Indy. Today I would like to talk about the role of self-esteem in recovery. It has a pretty deep root in the heart of recovery. And when I talk about recovery, what I'm discussing is how we are dealing with our issues, how we are growing, how we are learning each day of our lives going forward, and basically maturing in life and growing wiser and gaining more control over our lives as we go. So the role of self-esteem in that process is huge. And I talk with people all the time about what might be going on at the root of their abandonment issues, at the root of their shame, at the root of their anger, at the root of their need to control everything, at the root of their anxiety. And a lot of times it really is surrounded by a low self-esteem issue. I have done another video where I talked about how self-esteem plays such a role in our abandonment, that when our self-esteem is high, our abandonment is low. And when our self-esteem is low, our fear of abandonment is very high. It makes a lot of sense. When I feel good about myself, I'm not worried about people leaving me. But when I feel bad about myself, I'm terrified everyone's going to leave me because I don't feel good enough. So that's what it is that we're dealing with in terms of one of the examples that we're dealing with in terms of self-esteem at the root of our recovery. So it stands to reason then that when we learn more about building our self-esteem, we also learn more about how to grow in our recovery. So in terms of self-esteem, one of the things that we can be on the lookout for is what low self-esteem looks like. Many of us might look at it and say that is when someone is walking around all hunched over and mousy and won't make eye contact, won't talk much, and we've known people like that are shy and very demure, and of course that is low self-esteem that's more visible. However, there are so many different ways for us to cover up our insecurities and our low self-esteem. For example, I can be codependent. I can be pleasing everyone around me. That's a real common one that we see. I can be overconfident and cocky, and I know everything, even though when I don't, deep down inside, I don't know anything. I know that I'm not that I don't know anything, but I know that I am not an expert at these things, but I pretend to be because I need to cover up my low self-esteem. It's too uncomfortable for me to risk that being seen. People cover it up with overfunctioning. So I'm busy work, trying to make up for my low self-esteem in my productivity. So there are so many different ways that we can cover up our low self-esteem. Again, drinking, just low functioning. Another one is being a victim. I'm a victim of everybody else around me, and that way I don't have to take responsibility for my actions. So these different ways are ways for you to look, and we can certainly give you more. However, when we get to the place where we need to start working on building our self-esteem, then it becomes a whole different ballgame. So building our self-esteem basically is learning how to be authentic and real and raw and open to the world. You've got to be able to reveal yourself to the world and know that you're going to be okay. Now, this is not something that's going to happen overnight. It is a process. It requires community in order to be able to do it. And I can assure you that it can be done. So I really want to encourage you to look at the ways that you are behaving and see if perhaps some low self-esteem or some insecurities might be at the root of some of your behaviors you're not so fond of, or some of the behaviors that people complain about with regards to you. And if that's the case, then let's work on building your self-esteem instead of just trying to stop the anger, stop the neediness, stop the people pleasing or whatever. And if we can cure it at the root, then hopefully it will lessen your symptoms. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great day.